Well, was your father was a railroad man by profession?
Yeah, right. Yeah, from back east. He came from Pennsylvania as a railroader. And he worked in Grand Forks for the CPR, and then on up to, I think in Nelson a while maybe, and then on up to Lardeau.
Was he the first station agent in Lardeau?
Oh, I don't think so. No. The railroad was in there in 05?
1903.
3? Yeah. And we didn't go there till 1912.
Were you born?
I was born in Nelson, but I was we were living in Lardeau at the time. Yeah. It's 1914. We were there a couple of years, or they were there a couple of years before I was born.
What was your father's first name?
The same as mine.
Well, by 1912, things had, the mining boom and all that was pretty well gone, I guess.
Oh, no, they were still going. There was quite a bit. There was a big sawmill at Gerrard at that time. It was at Trout Lake to start with. Some smart person put the mill in at Trout Lake. Then they found out that it was too expensive to transport lumber and load it and reload it. And it was all handled by hand in those days. There was no such thing as forklifts or cranes and that sort of thing. So they only operated about a year in Trout Lake. And they ripped the whole thing out and put it down at the other end of the lake. And it ran then until about 1920.
Do you remember what year they moved to Gerrard?
What year the mill moved?
Yeah.
Well, it was before my time, but I think it would probably, might have been 1908, 9, something like that. That was what they called the Gerrard Lardeau Lumber Company in those days. It was financed by an English capital.
Where did you live in Lardeau?
In the station, the old CPR station house. Yeah.
Upstairs?
Yeah. Yeah, it was living quarters for family there.
How big was Lardeau at that time?
There was 1, 2, 3 hotels there.
All operating and
Yeah,
busy?
yeah. At the start. And by the time we moved out, there was only 2 left running. Old fellow named Ole Alvin had one. He was a bachelor. And Jack McLaughlin and his wife had the other one. And then earlier on, old Frank McQuestion had the saloon. Well, they were all saloons.
They all had liquor licenses.
Oh, well, they all sold liquor, you know. When they tore up the little old jail still sits there.
Where's that?
And the only, right across the street from, you know where Archie Greenlaw's house was?
No, I don't know.
Do you know Lardeau at all? Well, you know where the road comes down and the station is here, sitting here, and you go straight towards the water?
Yeah.
Well, it's a little cabin on the left, right at the water's edge nearly. A little flat roof thing.
Yeah.
And that was the Lardeau jail. And then they tore this old saloon down, I forget why. And there was a plank sidewalk, and there was a crack between each plank. And when they were ripping them up, it was my oldest brother and myself. You know, there, I think the money that had fell through these cracks, we started picking it up, and finally the people that were dismantling the building chased us away, and they were picking it up in sugar sacks, 10-pound sugar sacks, 4-bit pieces, silver dollars, all in the dust underneath this sidewalk.
Wow.
Yeah. You know, the guys
spoke of times before.
Yeah, well, saloon days when the guys would come out half drunk, I suppose, and dropping money and one thing or another. This went on for years.
What kept Lardeau going in those days?
Just the railroad center.
Were there
a roundhouse there and turntable, and the train was it didn't go on the barge at that time. The barge ran, and the car took the cars back and forth, but there was a terminal there for looking after the engines and maintenance and one thing and another, and they just run the 33-mile back and forth to Gerrard.
So there was an engine permanently stationed?
Oh, yeah. I can't remember how many, but...
Do you remember what kind was it? Coal burning?
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. They're all coal burners then.
You don't remember the particulars of the engine?
No, they weren't big engines, but I know I couldn't tell you the particulars. If I'd have been older, I would have been, because I was in the cab all the time, in the yard engine with the engineer.
So your father wasn't the only CPR employee in
No.
Nelson?
No,
in
Lardeau. No, there was a train crew.
And they lived in Lardeau?
I can't remember where they lived. They had to live in Lardeau, yes. But I can't remember what houses or whereabouts.
How often did the boat come in those days?
2 or 3 times a week, I guess. The train did run every day, hauling ore and lumber and one thing and another, from the lumber from the mill at Gerrard and ore from the mines at Trout Lake, Ferguson way.
So they'd haul ore down from those mines and send it on down too?
Yeah, right. There was a little tug and barge on Trout Lake, originally put on there by the CPR, and then it was bought over by a private, 2 brothers.
Who were they?
No, they weren't. First ones weren't brothers. Foote and Sutton bought it first from the CPR. The old Proctor was the name of the boat. And then they had the shingle mill at Trout Lake, and Ludwig brothers bought the boat and the barge and the mill from Sutton and Foote. And then McPherson brothers, who were natives of Trout Lake, bought it from Ludwig brothers, and they operated it till everything went fluey in the hungry 30s.
Things kept going then right through until the Depression?
That country was always surged. There'd be a boom, and then it should flatten right out, and then all of a sudden it would take off again in probably a different area, but there was usually something going. It wasn't really that bad during the Depression for a lot of people. I didn't lose much time as far as work was concerned. But, no, I don't think that valley, the whole area there was hit as hard as a lot of places during the Depression. It was bad enough, but of course you didn't need any money much either. Howser was a bit of a growing area at that time.
They shipped fruit out? Out
from Howser, yeah. There was 2 or 3 orchards there.
So would you take a boxcar to Howser Station?
And yeah, there was a siding there, a spur there, and they'd load them, whatever they were shipping there, or if it was only small lots, they'd go in the baggage car.
Would they then unload the boxcars in Lardeau? And
No, everything was loaded in cars, never was touched again. They went on the barge. That was gone, went to its destination.
So it was the engine and a few passenger cars that stayed?
Yeah, and of course they'd unload the empties off the barge and put the loaded ones on, then go on about their business again. That was the way it was operated.
Did they have regular passenger coaches?
Oh yeah, oh sure.
Well, they have wooden seats?
No. They did on the old ones, but they had upholstered seats. But I can remember the wooden seat.
Did they ever fill one of those cars up on that little run?
Oh yeah.
How could they possibly?
Oh, well, there was lots of people. No, there was lots of people in the country.
It's hard to imagine.
Yeah, it is.
Why it would be like that.
Yeah, right. No, it was everything was booming. Oh yes, I can remember. See, we never had to. My oldest brother and I, when we were kids, we never had to pay any fare because the old man had a pass for us all the time. If we wanted to go anywhere up the line, why, all we had to do was just get on the train. And we had a tame bear. It went wherever we went. And I can remember you were asking about the coach being full.
Yeah.
And a fellow named Bill Reeves was brakeman. And Bill Nelson was conductor. And I can't remember all of them. But at any rate, wherever we went, we took this bear. But this day we got aboard, and the bear was right with us. And he was never any bother. And he was only tiny. And he crawled underneath the seat, and I or Malcolm was sitting there holding this dog chain. And old Bill Reeves came along, and there was just one seat left in the coach. And this is how I'm coming to the story of the coach being crowded. So he had this big old lady along, and he was trying to find a seat for her in the coach. So he got to our seat, and here were just 2 little kids. So he said, "Hey, you kids, move over and let this lady sit down." We crowded over again the window, and she squeezed in there, and she no more than got nicely sat down, and the bear takes a look, and he landed right in her lap. She took one look at that, And as big as she was, she sprung to her feet, and the bear hit the wall, and down it went on the floor, and old Bill says, "Oh, here, I'll put that bear in the baggage car, and you guys can't have it here." Well, it wasn't too good with strangers, you know, and you had to know how to handle him. So old Bill was going to pick him up like he would a pup or a kitten or something, you know, and geez, it was all over it. And finally he dropped it. And, you know, I guess you guys can keep it if you look after it, he said.
How did you and your brother come to have a pet bear?
Oh, Dad was out in the bush, and he raised Airedale dogs, and they were the go at that time. Everybody was after an Airedale dog, so he got in the dog raising business, and he trained them. So he was out with the dogs, and there was an old sow and one cub, and the cub was way behind her, and she passed right by him and went on up the hill, and the cub came along squealing, trying to keep up. He just bent down, picked it up, and tied it up in a big red bandana handkerchief. The thing was only about that long. Put it in his Mackinaw pocket and brought it home. So it stuck with us for nearly 2 years.
And then you let it go?
No, it got killed at Gold Hill in a log chute.
Oh.
You know, they were shooting logs down this chute, and he would stand on this crossing and watch the logs go and jump in and chase one, you know, every once in a while. And this one went down on the curve of the chute, hung up, and he's down there wondering why it hung up, and another one come down and squeezed him between the two, and that was the end of it. And it was, we were offered all kinds of money for him. He was quite a bear.
A black bear?
Yeah, yeah. But they get to know quite a bit, those things.
Did your neighbors mind in Lardeau?
No, not really. Everybody seemed to get a bit of a kick out of him. The old man was the only one that had any trouble with him. And with these dogs, he was trying to raise them and make bear dogs out of them. And they'd tree this cub every once in a while. And this one he was training, about 8 months old, I guess. And he treed the little fella. He went to start with, when he wanted to get in through the screen door, he'd just rip the screen off the door and come walking in. So the old man clipped his claws off pretty short. Well, when the dogs chased him, he'd hit this old cottonwood tree in the backyard and go up, and it was forked, and he'd just get in the fork of that tree, and he was happy for hours. And after he clipped his claws, the dog took after him, and he just hit the tree and fell out of it and landed on the dog. And this pup that was about 8 or 9 months old got pretty badly mauled. So that was the trouble the old man had with him, and spoiled that dog. He just, he'd go out and he'd smell a bear, and he'd just head for home as fast as he could go. He would have no more of that.
Is that the old big cottonwood by the railway station?
No, after he went to Gold Hill, we moved into a little house down about where the forestry building is now, and lived there for a year or so while he was at Gold Hill. And that was down there when we had the bear.
So your dad was away from home then?
Well, back and forth. Yeah, he went into that tie business and was still with the CPR for quite a while. He stayed with the CPR, and Andy Daney ran the tie camp.
Do they have a sawmill up there?
Yes. Yeah, they had a bit of a sawmill. It was all hand-hewed ties.
Hand-hewed?
Oh, yeah. There was
as late as that, you think?
Oh, yeah. Oh, those hand-hewn ties, railroads preferred them. And I wouldn't wonder, but they still would if they could get them.
That's a tremendous amount of work.
Oh, yeah.
Who would you have to do the hand-hewing?
Oh, you'd get all kinds of guys in those days. They called them tie hacks. That's what they're... Same as you get fallers or anything today is the same thing. That was a profession.
Huh. Did they produce enough to make it?
Yeah, oh, yeah. Yeah, good tie hack could cut 60 ties a day.
Are they use a broad axe or something?
Mm-hmm.
And adze? Or?
No, just a broad axe and a scoring axe. You'd go down and score them first, the depth you wanted to hew them, and then go down with a broad axe and take the slab up.
Wow.
Full length of the tree on both sides. Then you took the saw and bucked them up into 8-foot lengths or 8'6".
So they flattened two sides and left two sides rounded?
Yeah, right.
So,
yeah.
And that would have been around the time of the war, I guess, by then. Or maybe after.
Yeah, the war was just about wartime. Yeah.
So someone else took over as station agent then? And
I forget who it was immediately took over. But it went on, there was dozens after that. I forget when they closed that station down. I think I'm sure it still operated. Yes, it did. Still operated after they had the old 600 bus on there.
Mm-hmm.
But the freight train had come in there on the barge once every 2 weeks, and then finally it was once every month. And then in the wintertime, they wouldn't even make too much of an effort and hope to get snowbound, and which would happen. And then you were isolated, especially up in the Lardeau and Gerrard end.
When did they bring this, the 600 in?
It was during the Depression. It had to be about 1930.
Mm-hmm. What, can you describe it?
Oh, it was a Model T Ford with flange wheels to run on the railroad track, and it was something like your milk vans.
Mm.
You know, something only had windows in it. And there must be pictures of it. I think Winnie should have pictures, or Archie ran it for a while, and so did Ralph.
Yeah, it was a Model T.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And how many passengers could it hold?
I guess a dozen. Then it pulled a couple of little trailers along behind for freight, whatever.
Did your dad didn't run it?
No, that was long after his time. Yeah, no, that was about 1930 or 31 they brought that in there, as near as I can remember.
Uh-huh.
Or it may have been earlier than that.
So up until that time did they have an engine right at Lardeau before that?
No.
So
They discontinued the roundhouse at Lardeau. I can't remember even when they did that, but they discontinued that, I would think probably in 25. And then they just run, once a week they'd run right through from Caslow with a train on the barge, with the old Moyer and Cuskanook and those stern wheeler. And then eventually, as the Depression went on, as I say, finally it was about every 2 weeks, and then it got to be whenever it was a necessity. And in the meantime, the old railroad track wasn't being kept up to any extent, so they finally gave up on it.
So when you were a young boy, they would have had regular crews working on the rail line?
Oh yeah. When we were kids in Lardeau, sure. Yeah, they had two section gangs. One at Lardeau and one at Gerrard.
Why was Selden Daney working with your dad on a tie operation, or Andy Daney, excuse me, on a tie operation when he had a packing business up in
Well, he'd go into anything that was a dollar in. Yeah. Oh no, he didn't go out of any of his other businesses on account of it. Yeah, he stayed with that, the freighting and what have you, and just branched out into that.
Well, you grew up there and went through school in Lardeau?
Not Lardeau, Gerrard. We moved to Gerrard in about 1919.
So that was after your dad was finished with his tie operation?
Yeah, right. Let's see. Yeah, he was finished.
Well, Gerrard was very different from Lardeau.
Oh yes. Oh yeah, different thing altogether. Gerrard was industry. To keep that mill cut about 100,000 a day, which was a big mill in those days, and it had quite a crew. Everything was done by hand with horses, and there was a lot of people around just to keep that mill going.
How many people lived in Gerrard then?
800 maybe, 700 or 800. Trout Lake had about 3,000.
How long did it sustain that for? Gerrard, when did the population start to drop off?
As soon as the mill shut down. Yeah, that would be 1920 or 21, I'm not too sure which. But they just started dying right off after that. There was nothing there except the bit of mining at Trout Lake. And there was a bit of a shingle mill at Trout Lake.
And there was a fish hatchery at Gerrard too.
Yeah.
Did that employ people?
Yeah, but a very small amount. I worked there as a kid. 1928, I guess, 27. Maybe a half a dozen in the peak of the spawning season. Half a dozen people.
Did you meet Russell Fletcher there?
Oh, I knew Russell ever since God, far back as I can remember. I used to have a pack outfit, a freighting outfit, before I left the country. And I packed survey gangs a lot. And I got to know Russell a while before that, but I think my memory serves me correctly. My mother boarded with his mother when she first came west, before she was married. So that goes back a long ways.
That's amazing. Yeah, that would be back in the 1800s, wasn't it?
No, she came west in '08. And they got married in about 1910, I think. 9 or 10.
So you were running, where were you running this pack train from?
Up at the north end of the Iron Lakes most of the time, for when I was freighting from mines.
Around Kamloops?
Camborne, and yeah. Yeah, I was in there for quite a few years.
Were there a lot of packers up and down that area?
Oh, in the early days there was, yeah. Oh, that was another profession. Yeah.
How did you get your start in that?
I suppose you've heard of Red McLeod, eh?
Yeah.
Well, when I was about 14 years old, I was working on a fire up Poplar Creek. And it lasted all summer, incidentally, and old Red was packing there. And there was more work than he could handle alone, and I started working with him, and that was how I got packing.
There was more to Red McLeod in that fire than just that, wasn't there?
Yeah, but he poor old guy, he put the winter in jail over that fire. He stole a bit of grub out of there and nailed him for it.
I heard that story, yeah.
But he was a pretty good guy. I saw something in a book about him here the other day that somebody had written about him being an outlaw and all that stuff, but he wasn't. He was, I think, probably a kleptomaniac in his own right. For people he didn't, against people he didn't care for. But if you got along with him, there was nothing the matter with him. He was a good guy, really.
He's reputed to have known quite a bit about horses.
Oh yeah. Yeah, he was a good packer.
Did you work with him beyond that, or was that?
No. Yeah, I think I did pack with him another time. After I had horses of my own. Up to the Lavina, I think, maybe it was. I can't remember.
He'd have been an old man by then, wasn't he?
No, not then. Not when I was 14.
When you were 14, that was 1920...
28.
28.
Yeah. Oh no, I was younger than that. It was a lot further back than that when I first helped him. Yeah, he was a good horseman. He was a good packer.
Was his name Norman McLeod?
Yeah, Norman.
It was. There was also a Captain McLeod on the.
Oh yeah, on the boat. Yeah.
Were they any?
No. The only relative that I know anything about that Red had was over in Fort Steele, and he was Andy McLeod. And the two of them had quite a chunk of land there, Red and he. But Red come over. Well, he used to come back and forth all the time, since the early days. Then about 1925, 26, somewhere along there, he come over and stayed. But he was well acquainted with him long before that.
Did he settle? He lived in Howser later, but did he settle when he first came in 25 or 26?
He was in Argenta early. Then he was at White's Ranch between Howser and Argenta. I can't remember where he was before that, whether he had any roots at all. But his house, his little cabin, I think still is there on the roadside at Argenta.
Yeah, it is. There's a Norman McLeod who bought a lot in the town site of Argenta in 1899.
Well, it could have been him. Could easily have, and probably was.
Isn't that something?
Yeah, it probably was, and that's probably what kept attracting him back there, He's something or other that he liked about it.
Was he a big man?
Yeah.
What did he look like?
Well, big red-headed Scotchman. Yeah, walking around with his hat pulled over his eyes and always looking down at his feet. He was a big man. He'd be 6'1" or 2", and he'd weigh 195 or 200, something like that. Strong man, real strong man.
Was he like a cowboy to you, or was he a mountain man? Or?
No, he was a he was a packer, you know, which wasn't a cowboy.
Mm-hmm.
He knew his way around. But I don't really know where he came from. I've heard him talk about working in the railroad yards in Winnipeg, I think. You know, I don't know where he came from. Whether he was a Canadian native or whether he came from the old country. I don't think he ever came from the old country. But he'd spent a few little hitches in jail and missed a few, you know, for just being foolish. Drink is what usually got him in trouble. But he was a pretty good head, just the same.
Maitland Harrison, I think, was the one who told me about the Poplar Creek fire.
Yeah, right, he was there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was talking to Maitland not long ago. That was 1925. 25. I was on, Malcolm and I both were on that fire. We were just kids. Maitland was foreman. And God, could that guy ever walk? About 7 miles an hour without exerting himself, you know, and everybody else had to keep up to him. And how long since you've seen him?
I think it's been less than a year.
Yeah, well, he's passed, he's on 91. And God, that guy is active and skookum yet, and bright.
He was. I've just sat in his kitchen with him, but he looks in good health.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And the pictures of him, he always towers over everyone.
Oh yeah, well his brother, it was two of them, Bill and Maitland. Bill died up here at Parksville a few years ago. They were both the same size.
I've never heard him talk about his brother.
Oh, is that right?
Was his brother up in the Lardeau?
Oh yeah, yeah, they came from the old country together.
Huh.
No, they didn't. Maitland came first, and he came in 7 or 8, 1907 or 8.
He was down in Caslow.
Yeah, right. I'm at
Shutty's
Bench. And then he was in Howser.
Mm-hmm. Oh, right. His brother. Oh, he did tell me about his brother. His brother bought in with Tim Ainsworth. And
yeah, right.
And then Maitland took in.
Yeah.
Right.
And Tim was, you never knew him.
No, in fact, I've not heard much about him.
No. You got a good memory for names. You have. I say you have a good memory for names.
Have to develop it.
Yeah, right.
He was British, wasn't he?
Oh yeah. He was. You want to get Maitland sometime to tell you the story about how he got here.
About how Tim got there?
No. He and Bill. Just the two of them. His father, they were military people right from generations back. And Maitland and Bill both were educated for that purpose. Then when their father died or got killed, there was quite a bit of money, you know, in those days, 20, what was it? I forget now. £10,000 a piece or something. But they couldn't touch it until they were 21. Well, they both got fed up with the country, and Maitland especially, and he wanted to get out of it. But I won't go on the story because it takes all the sting away from it. But sometime when you see him, you want to really get him to tell you about it. It's really quite a story. But they were controlled by the British government once they were the guardians.
Because their parents.
They were warrants of the yeah. Huh. And they couldn't do a thing. They couldn't kind of leave the country. They couldn't take a dollar. They couldn't do anything because they were wards of the government. Will to them. Will to the government.
Will to the government.
Yeah. Huh. The only way they could leave the country was to have somebody sponsor them here that was going to be their guardian here. But they still couldn't get the money till they were 21. Sort of thing. Well, Maitland came out first. Bill came out later. But I can remember the day that the both of them come back from overseas in the First World War. Going back a ways too.
How No, you missed the first work. You were too
Oh
young.
yeah, well yeah, right. But they came back in 1921. They stayed in India.
Mm-hmm.
Maitland was in India for years, and I think it was about 1921 when they came back.
Why do you remember? Why does it stick in your mind?
Just the size of them.
Emma Rear?
Yeah, she ran that. Her mother and stepfather ran it before her. He built it. His name was Alvin, and he was a brother to the oldie Alvin that had the hotel in Lardeau.
It was John Alvin.
John, yeah.
Huh. Did people stay there much? Or
Oh yeah, yeah. It was amazing. She was a wonderful cook. People used to just go there to eat.
Huh.
Nothing else.
When you were working on poles, was it in that area?
Not so much right there, no. There was a little pole camp at Poplar.
Was that Newfoundland?
No, O'Brien. A fellow named O'Brien had a camp there years ago.
These camps, would they be just a few cutters and putting out a very small number of poles? Or?
Oh no, in some places if there was a lot of poles to be cut, they'd have quite a crew in and then teams skidding them out.
All the horses must have made quite a demand for hay.
Oh yeah.
How did they beat that?
Brackman and Kerr in Nelson, it was a big business for them.
What was the name of it?
Brackman and Kerr, they were feed.
So they'd bring up feed on
the train. Mm-hmm.
Huh. I hadn't realized that there were that many horses in the Lardeau.
Oh yeah, everything was done with horses. There was nothing else. Yeah. Whatever you moved to the horse.
Did you ever pack with mules?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you had a string of your own horses?
Yeah.
That must have been quite an investment to get.
Not in those days. No, not like it is today. Go down to the Okanagan and get a carload of horses for $300. And I lost all my pictures a while ago, but I'm getting some reproductions. But this is just a couple.
Wow.
That's up at Teddy Glacier Mine above Camborne.
Oh, okay. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people working on this.
No, not really. There was only 3 of us. There must have been a couple of us.
There's 2 folks.
Yeah, they weren't working on it. There were 2 of us packing. He lives in Nelson, the guy that worked with me, a fellow named Mel Smith. And myself, we were the packers, and we had 1 helper.
Why does this seems to go up, snake up and down like crazy? Is that?
It doesn't up and down, it's up all the way. It's switchbacks.
Oh, it's just the way I was looking at it.
Yeah, this is the top. These are all empties going down. This is the summit here.
Uh-huh.
You went along, and this is going down the hill, like so.
Oh, I see.
It's kind of an oddball picture.
Yeah. Well, okay.
They call that the Golden Stairs.
Okay. Did you ever pack in around the Triune and Silver Cup?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I worked at the Silver Cup all one winter.
Underground or pack?
No, I was running the mill there. We had a concentrator. I worked on the construction, put a sawmill in there and cut all the lumber to build the camps and the mill.
Now, when was that?
34, 35.
Who was running the mine then?
Oh, it was an outfit. It was financed from Chicago.
So they put a tram line down to...
Yeah, we had a short tram line. Originally, there was a long tram line that went right down to the Largo River.
Down to 5 Mile.
Right.
Yeah.
But, no, that wasn't that was a smelter at the 5 Mile.
Mm-hmm.
And it was up about 8, 9 Mile where the tram would come down to the road at the river.
Huh.
But we built the camp right up at the foot of the hill, and we used the old tram cable and trammed the ore just straight down. It was only about maybe 2,500 feet. Mm-hmm. We worked there. A fellow named of Penhole, Lou Penhole. He was from California, but the money was from back east that financed it. It worked out not too bad. If the times had been good, it had been dandy. It was lead and zinc.
So were they using air drills compressors up there?
No, we were just mining the dump, the old dump. We were just milling the old dump. We didn't break any rock at all.
Huh. So they'd take so what they were taking was the material that had been extracted from the mill
from the mine
to make the shafts and just
well, yeah, that's right, and it had been sorted and the high grade taken out of it.
Now in those days they were hand sorting.
Yeah, right.
So then you brought that down the hill in the tram.
Yeah, and put it through the mill.
Put it through a mill.
Concentrator, yeah.
And then you
ship the concentrates to trail.
By wagon down to Trout Lake?
Yeah. But right to Beaton. They went to Beaton, and we shipped them down the Air Lakes at that time because there was no transportation on Trout Lake to amount to anything in 35.
Oh, I see. Would they be 4-horse teams?
We used hauling the concentrate from there. We had a cat. First cat that was ever in the country.
What kind was it?
Caterpillar. An old D7. Well, it was the first diesel cat that was ever in the country. There were 2 or 3 little gas cats that had been in and out of there. But it was the first diesel.
And it would pull wagons with...
we used sleighs mostly. It was in the winter when we operated there. We used sleighs.
Huh.
And then the True Fisher mine, I worked up there too. And that was another cat show. All concentrates from there to Beaton.
That was another one? Oh, cat show.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Huh. That's amazing. I never heard that.
Yeah.
Those mines were very high up in the mountains,
Oh, yeah.
weren't they?
Yeah.
It would have been hard to work them in the winter.
Yeah, right. You were just, getting up above timberline.
Where were you living?
No, they had a camp right there.
They didn't get buried in the snow.
I had some pictures of the Teddy Glacier mine, and we were 8,400 feet. And there wasn't a tree. Well, we were 2,000 feet, over 2,000 feet above the last tree.
Huh.
And we packed everything in there. Lumber to build the camp, stove, diesel oil, coal for the burn.
Packed in with horses?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was on that job then. God, tons and tons. And we packed the winter supply of stuff in there for the crew before they really got snowed out. And then all that was left was just handle the mail and light stuff, But I had a full pack train load of eggs. A full pack train load of meat at a time, quarters of beef. Nothing else, just quarters of beef.
Oh.
And 2 quarters to a horse, and we were packing 25 horses or so. And they buried it in the snow, in the ice. And the camp was blasted out, right out of the glacier. And it was built right back into the glacier, And there were some Scandinavians there, and some of them were ski jumpers, and they'd use that end of that gable end of the camp cookhouse to ski jump off of. And God, there was no end to going down. There was one poor little guy, he laid in bed pretty near all winter. Sprained ankle, sprained wrist, something. He'd jump off of there and get hurt. No more than get mobile again, he'd do the same thing over.
My gracious. When did you come out of the Lardeau?
40.
Did you go to the war?
No.
You came down here?
Yeah, I came down here and then I went into the construction business. I was working on the airport at Pat Bay, and then they sent me up to Cape Scott to put a detector station in a camp in there for the Air Force. And from then on, I couldn't even enlist.
Holberg, was that it?
No, Cape Scott.
Right up at the...
Yeah. Well, they kept me on deferment all during the war. Both my brothers were in it. They wouldn't get me out of it. Not that I had any great desire to be in it to start with. I would have went.
Could you describe the station at Lardeau a little bit about it and how it was set up?
Well, the office and waiting room was what they call a waiting room, where the passengers went in and sat down. The building it's different now to what it was because it had an overhang out over there was a platform ran right out to the edge of the railroad track and an overhang that covered it. And then there was the living quarters upstairs, the office downstairs, and the waiting room. And off the end of that, just a continuation of the building was a warehouse for a freight shed.
How big was that? As large as the station?
Oh yeah, twice as big. Twice as big as the station.
On the east side?
Going towards the road. This way. The front of the station's heading up the valley, looking up the valley.
Yeah.
And from that was on the the other end of it, going towards where the Lardeau Castle Road comes into Lardeau.
Oh, yeah. So it was on the,
between the building now and the
on
Castle.
the west side of it.
Yeah.
Huh.
The end of it, actually, not on the side.
Uh-huh. Right.
Yeah.
Was it always painted?
Red.
Bright red or barn red or?
Yeah, CPR red. Yeah, whatever
The
that is.
trim was white?
No, it wasn't trimmed with white. Can't remember. No, it wasn't white. And I can't remember what it was.
Well, right now there's a front porch and then there's a road. Were the tracks where the road is? Or were the tracks directly in front of the building?
Yes, right.
So
Right up tight to the building, as a matter of fact. Their snowplow would just touch the end of the sidewalk when it come through. Yeah.
Well, there's a little in the front. There's a little window, sort of, that sticks out like a bay window.
That's right. That was the office. That's where the old man sat. Was right here.
And was there a telegraph set?
Yeah,
on the
right. Desk there and a telegraph and phone or whatever.
Was there a ticket window?
Yeah.
Where you
Ticket windows inside from the waiting room
into the office.
into the office.
Built into the doorway, or separate from the doorway?
No, it was separate from the doorway.
Huh.
Or did it? Or was it part of the? Maybe it was a double door and with the.
Uh-huh.
No, I don't think it was. It was a wicket alongside the door.
Was it all well built?
Oh yeah, it was a plastered building.
Huh.
It was one of the very, very few plastered inside in those days. Yeah. They were all the CPR stations were identical. You know, somebody drew the plans and they built them all exactly the same.
Did you ever see another one just like?
Oh yeah, the one at Gerrard was identical.
Huh.
And I've seen quite a few of them along in that time, you know.
That's interesting.
Yeah, the one at Casla wasn't any different, I don't think, the original one.
Maybe they have a different one now.
Oh, I think that's different now.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Yeah, they were all the same.
Did you have an old pot-bellied stove?
Yeah, well, a coal burner, you know, one of these.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, in the freight shed, there was a coal bin in one corner of it for the building. These old coal buckets, you've seen them, haven't you? Well, had them around.
Where did they had a telegraph that went up the line, did it?
And it went out to Caslo too.
Huh.
Oh yes, you could wire out any, you know, you were in contact with the world really
Was
with
your
it.
dad a telegraph agent? He could send and receive them?
Oh yeah.
And were there receiving points along the line or just at Gerrard?
There was telephone, no, there was telephone along the line.
To connect like...
It had nothing to do with the telegraph. The telegraph was from Lardeau South. And it was phoned from Lardeau up to Gerrard. And all waypoints. Everybody had a phone.
Teddy Evans?
Yeah, I don't remember whether Teddy ever had a phone or not. Not likely.
And Logus's?
Oh yeah, Logus's had a phone. And Howser and Cooper Creek and Meddy Creek and Marblehead. Of course, that was a bit of an industry going there.
Yeah, did they ship a lot of marble out?
They did. Yeah, they shipped quite a bit of marble out of there.
Were the people that worked there special people brought in?
Not all of them. Dave Carson, Ralph's brother, worked there. He ran that thing for years and years and years.
Is he still around?
Dave, yeah. No, he's on the Mexican border. He moved down there. He was up here to Ralph's funeral a month or so ago. But they came to the country in 1922. And I guess they had the first camper probably on the North American continent.
The first camper?
Yeah. A Model T Ford with a little shack built on it, and there were 7 of them in the family, and they come from the Dakotas to Meddy Creek. And I was talking to Dave about it the other day and when he was here, and they averaged 100 miles a day. Quite a feat. They moved into Meddy Creek, and it was just brush and logs and trees.
There wasn't much farming going on then, was there?
Well, there was a fellow named Marsden. He had quite a place there, and that's. Do you know where Abby's place is now? I think that they use it for kind of a headquarters for that ski lift or something.
Oh yeah, sure.
And those, you know, where the two big houses are in the middle of the meadow, the middle of the field between Meddy Creek and the corner.
Well, there's two new ones. The
Hmm?
ones that have just been built.
Yeah, right.
Oh yeah.
Well, that was all meadowland, all
Mhm.
hayland. And there was a lot of it they couldn't hay because it was too soft. But they'd winter horses there. There's no ever, you know, they'd put up some hay. If it got too tough and the horses couldn't survive, well, then they'd bail them out a bit of this hay.
Is that where would you put your horses out?
I used, when I wintered mine out, which wasn't very often, it was at Hall's Landing up at the Columbia River, just above, between Revelstoke and Arrowhead, which is no more Arrowhead, it's buried now. It was pretty good grazing land in there.
Mm.
Yeah, Dave, he worked in that marble quarry for a long time. I think Ralph worked there for a while. But no, they didn't, I think probably engravers and that. At one time they did a lot of engraving on stones and so forth.
They did it right, they made the finished tombstones right?
Yeah, right. And I think those people that were imported from somewhere, you know, but the ones that actually quarried the rock and ran the mill and that sort of thing, well, they didn't, just people that were there.
Huh.
In Meddy Creek, when old Harry Newcomb had that, there was a lot of people around there too.
Mm.
Between the Marblehead and Meddy Creek, it was, you know, quite a bunch.
He was the agent for Kootenai Cedar Company, wasn't he?
He had something to do with it, and there was two fellows that owned that, and I'm trying to think of their names.
Smith Kenneth?
Yeah, they owned it, and he was kind of a watchman, or more or less, over it, and he got a bit of their timber.
They never came up into the area, did they?
Not to any great extent, no.
Do you remember seeing them?
Oh yeah. Here when I was a kid, they were in out of there. Yeah.
Well, they bought all that land from the Great Northern Railway.
Yeah, right.
I thought it was funny how the Great Northern Railway had all the bottom land, but the CPR is the one that actually built the railway.
Yeah, right. Well, there was a railroad surveyed and partly built from Argenta up.
Mm-hmm.
There was another one went up to kind of the middle of the valley, and it crossed at Marblehead, and it ran through to Howser, and was going to come out the pass there, but it never got any further than that.
A third one?
Yeah.
I never heard of that one.
Yeah, and then CPR, of course, they took the main valley.
Right. Well, this third one, was that early?
I can't remember. Oh, yeah, God, yes.
I mean, it was...
The other ones pinched them out, you know, that was about what it was. And then there was a railroad survey up here, Meddy Creek way over the summit. Everywhere there was railroad survey.
That's interesting. How did you happen to hear about that? Did the surveys cause trouble for because of right-of-ways or?
Oh, no. No. But the old grades were in there. Some of the old grades were in there, and across from Marblehead, I logged cottonwood there one winter for DeVorts and Nelson. And I had a contract from Malcolm Greenlaw, Archie's brother.
Mm-hmm.
And I put a couple of teams in there, and we were skidding cottonwood. And that was when I ran onto these old trestles, and a couple of old trestles in there, and old railroad grade that had been built.
Oh, that's interesting. And that was neither the grade
No.
of the Great Northern?
No. No.
Uh-huh. Whereabouts was that now?
Well, you know where... Did you know... Were you there before the dam was built?
No, but I've seen photographs of it.
Well, you know where the road went from our Howser to Argenta?
Across Canning's Bridge.
And then, it went down and crossed the bridge there and on the other side and then went down. Well, that railroad grade kept on going from the end of the bridge. Right down along that ridge that goes to Howser Ridge, and it went right down. Cooper Creek. And this, evidently up to a few years ago, there was evidence of that, and he's had drawings and sketches of that, too.
Yeah, the parts of the dam are still there.
Yeah, right.
He took me over and we saw that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's getting to be quite a guy, picking up stuff now. But they came in there. They came into that country after we did. 1912 or 13, I think.
Well, with so many people, Gerrard must have been quite a large community. Stores and
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Well, did it have a main street?
No, not as such. The railroad track was the main street. And they just branched off from there. You know, people walked to their homes from there, more or less.
Was it boardwalks or?
No, it was all drag around there. There's a bench up on the hill towards Canyon Creek, and there was a bunch of staff houses up there. There was a big cookhouse and bunkhouse back. Oh, it's hard to explain just where, but there was a flat, quite a flat back in there. And they, I forget how many. It was quite a modern thing in those days. They were about 2 men to a room, and where it would usually be about 25.
Yeah.
And big cookhouse.
Were there? Did some of the workers there have families?
Oh yes. Oh yeah. An awful lot of them did. The ones that the cookhouse was for the transient type, kept coming and going. And after the mill closed down, there was 2 great big drying sheds. They weren't kilns as they are today, but they were just a normal.
Air drying?
Yeah. And one of them had a big round dome roof on it. And a whole bunch of us were going to school there. We flooded the thing. Put the fire hoses in there and packed snow in the cracks and made a skating rink. And we had a dandy skating rink in there.
Well, that was after the whole thing closed.
After everything was closed down, yeah. There were just a dozen people left there, so.
Did you first go to school in Gerrard?
Yeah.
First grade?
Yeah.
And it was a one-room schoolhouse? So.
Yeah, 1 room was right. And do you know Margaret Jardine in Caslow?
Yeah.
Well, that little old organ that she's got in her front room was the musical instrument that was in that 1 room school.
Huh.
Same one. Yeah, even after I left school, and you had to, I forget how many, 8 or 10 kids to get a teacher.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd go back and register. So get enough to open the school up, and then I'd go to work. I'd take an hour off and go over and register.
Did you work in Gerrard?
Yeah. There wasn't an awful lot doing right in Gerrard after. But, fish hatchery and Newcomen had pole camps up the lake. I worked up there.
So they'd float the poles down and then load them on.
Pull them out and load them on cars. And then I worked in the pole yard quite a bit. I stayed right at home when we were loading out.
Peeling with them too?
No, loading out.
They didn't have a peeler?
No, all hand peeled. But they peeled them in the woods. They didn't peel them in the yard.
All right.
And the Duke of Boers had a little sawmill there for quite a few years.
Sucre?
Yeah.
Well, that didn't come in until quite a bit later.
Oh, way later.
Was your dad the station agent in Gerrard then?
No, there was no station agent there when we moved to Gerrard.
Huh.
He worked, I forget what he did, bookkeeping or something at the mill for a while, and then he decided he wanted to get back into railroading again. He went south.
Your mom was famous in the valley.
Pardon?
Your mom was famous in the valley.
Yeah. Yeah. God, you couldn't move her out of there. We all tried and tried and tried. Finally had to go and leave her. And one winter, my brother was working in Camborne, and he and I took her to Camborne for a year. But she was pretty unhappy. She had to get back to Gerrard. Then she moved to Caslow. I think she was quite happy in Caslow until she finally had to go into one of these nursing homes.
When you lived in Gerrard, was Trout Lake always a bigger place? Many more
Yes.
people?
Oh yeah.
Did
Yeah,
you trade there for groceries?
a lot of times you'd run up the lake. A lot of and there was another store at Poplar Creek. Old A.G. Johnson had it.
I've never heard of it. A general store?
Yeah, a real old country general store. Anything you wanted was there.
Huh.
Yeah, from felt hats to anything. It didn't make any difference what it was.
In Poplar, who would he trade with? There was no.
When the train was running, or there was or the 600, he had pretty near the whole valley.
Huh.
You know, they'd phone in an order and he'd make it up and put it on the books. And,
huh.
Yeah. Quite an old character. He and his sister. They had the hotel. There was a hotel attached to it. And I think that Ken Bowles tore it down and built that house with it, if I remember the story right. But A.G. he ran the store, and old Miss Johnson ran the hotel. She was a little old maid, a little tiny old thing. And they got older and older and older, and then one winter she died right there. And old A.G. went and sat down by the stove, and he wouldn't move. They couldn't do anything with him. And he sat there till he died a day or two later.
Huh. Had they been there for...
Oh, yeah. He was the first school teacher in Vancouver. A.G. was.
The first school teacher in Vancouver?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, I remember one time I worked for a fellow at Cameron. He had two daughters, and they were both school teachers in Vancouver. And they were going through the valley, and we were going, a bunch of us on the old 600. And we stopped there. So I introduced him to old A.G. Johnson, and I said, these are a couple of school teachers from Vancouver. And he says, what, just take the two of you to do it now? He says, I did that all alone. But the Trout Lake end of it, Roy Jacobson is really the guy to talk to on that, because he won't miss any of it, you know.
Great.
And I was only a kid going to school, and I knew I probably knew most of the people that Roy knew, but I wouldn't get them in place like he would, you know, where they belong in the picture, sort of thing. What motivated you to do this book on the country? There's a lot of it been done. You know, a lot of books, people write-ups and one thing, you know,
yeah.
Creek. And there's two places that there's not much history on, unless you could find the people that were actually there, and there aren't anymore.
But even though the people aren't still around from the earliest times, it's still the 20s and the 30s are important times in describing, like, for instance, well, what was the valley like then? Was it good life? Was there a lot of money, a lot of prosperity? Were there lots of people, just a few people? Who are the, you know, who?
There was never any great prosperity in the valley. Never. There's probably been more in the last decade than ever in history. The odd one might have made a few dollars. The individual that went into the mining business never really was very successful. Even the mines all pinched out sooner or later. They you know, there was just too much rock amongst the valuable stuff.
And too far away.
Yeah. No, it was always been spotty ever since the first history of the country. Never been anything solid like a mine that's going to last for 30 years or something like that. Like the Bluebell down there.
Right. But it seems, yeah, that it still was an area of tremendous activity during the 20s, and the pole cutting and.
Oh yeah,
and
yeah. But you know, people they weren't the people that lived there. They'd be one contractor, and there may be half a dozen of the locals working for him, and the rest were all imports. They'd make their steak and go out and blow it, and come back and make another one, and go out and blow that. And that's the way life was.
But there were people that lived full time.
Oh yeah.
Teddy Evans.
Oh yes, the Alexanders. He raised a family there, and Loguses up there. They were there all the time.
And people in Howser.
Oh yeah. Oh
Slim
yeah.
Hatfield.
Well, old Slim was a trapper. That was all. You know.
They were settled in there.
Oh yeah. Oh sure. But there was no fortune. There was no. It was just, people wanted to live there, and that was all. It was a place to live. And
one thing that's interesting is quite early the area seemed to attract attention for recreation for people coming from a distance to hunt and fish.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you remember much of that? Did you ever guide? Or?
Oh, I fished on the Trout Lake a bit with them, like a few people. There was never any great amount of guiding went on there as far as that.